Welcome to the Life with Joey Calvo YouTube channel, podcast, as well as on PhillyCAM TV. And if you are watching this on PhillyCAM TV and you have comments or questions for our guests today after it airs, please go to the Life with Joey Calvo YouTube channel and click on live, and then click on the show in particular and leave your comment, and we'll do our best to get to the guest itself. If unable to, I will let you know. So our guest today is Toni Akin. By day, she is a public school administrative specialist by day, and by night she works on public housing and educational programs. So Toni, welcome to the podcast.
Joey, thank you so much. Such an honor to be here with you and your fans in Philadelphia today, another city of my heart, where our founding fathers signed the Constitution. I'm also a former commissioner qualified for public oath. So such an honor for inviting me to the show. I'm also a current commissioner, as you mentioned, for public housing here in Providence, Rhode Island, another city steeped in history, with Roger Williams, who's the founder of this great state, with the religious freedom and freedom of expression. So such a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you.
All right. So tell us about Toni. How did Toni get from, up to where we're at now?
Well, Joey, like I mentioned, I'm a public housing commissioner. I'm also ex officio in the public house for the public school department. As a board member. So I'm actually a product of both systems. And, it's been a lifelong passion of mine to work, in these areas. I come from a long line of teachers and educators. My mother, my late mother, was an advocate for quality public education. And she was, adamant about that a child should go to any school that they wanted to. So that belief stayed with me, throughout my adult life. And my late father, he was born in Kentucky on a farm, and he walked to school every day without shoes. So that's how important education was to him. So it was really something that was instilled in my youth, that through hard work and education, we can become anything that we want. So it's, where I got that inspiration.
Okay. All right. So you started out, you lived in subsidized housing.
Correct.
Yes. And then, of course, you rose out of it, grew out of it, and you got to be able to now be part of a school board, working with a school district, and being able to do some programming as well. In reference to the school district, explain what you actually do within the school district.
So, as I mentioned, Joey, I was appointed for a 3-year term on the Providence Public School Department. And I quickly took on some leadership roles, not just as the chair of finance, but the co-chair of the Health and Wellness Committee. And that, unfortunately, health and wellness are the biggest challenges facing not just public education, but public housing residents today. So that's very near to my heart because, like I mentioned, I grew up in a public housing development, and perhaps one of the most notorious in all of New England was called the Maverick Projects. And it was during the bus riot era. So mental health and wellness, it was not something that we spoke about back then. And we didn't have the services that we have now.
Mhm.
So that's something that I'm actually still working on as an ex officio member.
Mhm.
I've been reappointed back on that committee.
Mhm.
And, it's something that's expanding now, even outside my work here in Rhode Island.
Mhm.
I've made presentations last month in Mystic, Connecticut, on a regional level. And next month, I will be going on a national level with my presentation that focuses on not just health and wellness, but safety and security as a way for students and educators and community residents as well to be able to, address the fast-paced life that we're living in now and all the demands of society that's placed on us. Because as students, I've worked with students from all over the world, and they're all struggling with the same thing. They're all struggling academically. They're struggling, to fit in with their peers. They're struggling for their safety and security within the community. So, really melding that into a presentation that is really resonating with leaders as well. So I'm just pleased that my message is landing with people. So thank you for asking about that.
Okay. All right. So we already have a question before the questions that were sent to you. We have a Marilyn Hinch, and her question exactly is, what does she exactly do?
Well, I wear many, many hats. My focus is on what I call the 3 Ps, Marilyn. And that's public education, public housing, and the protection of animals. And that encumbers a lot of different hats and a lot of different focuses. So with public education, I've already told you where my primary focus lies with the Mental Health and Wellness Committee, working with the students, and not just the students, but the educators and the staff, because they need a lot of support too. Behavioral wise, with the students, academically, trying to improve their grades, trying to give them some healthy options with food and nutrition and, sports and recreation. I'm a former treasurer for the Red Sox as well.
Oh.
Love student athletes. That's a great way. That's how I actually was able to get through high school.
Mhm.
Was my sports and recreation, because I lost my parents as a teenager, so I needed that outside, those extracurricular activities to keep me on track academically. So that's and then the public sector, I what with the residents, and the residents health and wellness is a major focus again, but we also focus on jobs and looking at ways how the residents, as you say, can get out of public housing if they wish, because some people want a better living situation, and then trying to address the housing crunch. And I feel that public housing is a great option on doing just that with expansion. We're very fortunate here in Providence. We have a large stock of public housing, and we're expanding. But that's not necessarily the case around the region and around the country with the not in my backyard mentality that's trying to actually diminish it. And, with the HUD actually is working against, initiatives with their restore and rebuild proposal to abolish that. So that will actually relegate public housing stock nationally. So there's a lot of work going on that. And then work I do with protection of animals. I've just got a board member post with the Volunteer Services of Animals, and it's a statewide agency. And we help animals find homes, get the medical care, we're trying to do telemedicine for animals as well. Here in Rhode Island, bill that's with legislative now under review. So trying to also expand just education for environmental, because without the forestry and the wild, we have nowhere for life to go. And that actually shines in with another board that I'm on for environmental education. So there's a lot of moving parts to my advocacy.
Okay. Just to let you know, you're cutting in and out.
Oh.
Just to let you know in reference to it. Like, we can hear you, but, you're coming in and out as you're talking. Okay. And so, Marilyn also wanted to tell you that she was very proud of you in reference to that. And then she said something else, but it came out to the letter V. All right. So you do all this. And so now comes the questions that have been sent to you in advance. And so now I take this point out, and I'd like to introduce our number one fan, number one supporter, and she's a real life superheroine by the name of American Fox. And let me take that out. And she has some questions for you as well that was sent out. And Toni got these beforehand. And when Toni got these questions, she was amazed. I will say that. So the first question American Fox has, and it got cut as I was putting this in, is this: what got you interested in being on the school board?
Well, first of all, I want to say hello to American Fox. Very beautiful outfit, very patriotic. So thank you for that question. Really just to circle back on that, what got me into it was more what was inside of me. It really was, my own life. Circumstances. I lost my parents as a teenager, as I said, and it was really that high school diploma that was a lifetime achievement for me. And I feel that is the case for students. It's one of the top achievements in my lifetime. And despite all my recent achievements, I still keep that at the top of my list. And I believe other people do. I can tell the passion from many, community leaders and neighbors and just, ordinary people that I meet. But it really is, there was no outside event that pushed me towards serving on my school board. But it really came from inside me, American Fox. So, as I said, it was my sisters, it was my experience, my belief in that an education can, make a difference in a young person's life. And it's not just a young person's life. I feel that as a lifelong learner, it doesn't stop with that degree. We have to keep learning. We have to keep applying, our academic achievements. And it's a lifelong endeavor. So really, that's why what got into me, per se.
Okay. And so question number 2 from American Fox goes like this: what impact can you make in the housing authority?
That was a tough one, American Fox. I don't know if I'm breaking in and up here, but let me double check my microphone settings.
Yeah. You're okay for right now.
When I think about it, Joey, I think about the impact that I can make in the housing authority, because I'm a product of the housing authority. As I said, one of the most notorious in all of New England. So I feel that, a situation when I turned the age of majority and I came home to find an eviction notice on my door, that tenable situation of losing my housing stability stayed with me for my adult life. So I think that, it really just shaped me in being able to want to provide stable, affordable housing to other people. And I feel that, my work is starting to get a lot of attention just because of, that mitigating factor. And as a sustaining member of the National Leased Housing Association, I was recently invited to contribute to a risk retention group publication on how keeping housing risks here in Rhode Island and across the region, and how to be able to track that, how to be able to quell that. And, I'm just very passionate because of, my own life experience growing up in public housing.
Okay. And being that you had mentioned earlier about, a minute, in reference to the, being involved with like animal rescue foundations and nonprofits. The third question from American Fox made it very clear. Do you have any pets?
Well, I actually do. I grew up with all types of pets, from parrots, dogs, cats, hamsters. They were all rescue animals. I currently have 3 of my own today. So yes, I believe in going back to the health and wellness. I do believe that animals give a lot of, comfort in our lives. And I believe that animals deserve to be protected in a similar fashion as, children and other marginalized people, like those in public housing. Because, people in public housing are often relying on those animals for companionship. And one of the matters that I'm, remonstrating on is that HUD wants to remove that from the lease agreements. And that's a major concern because it's going to impact the mental health of our residents if those animals are taken away off the lease. So, like I said, I have 3 stray animals. I have a dog and I have 2 cats. I can't tell you the ages of them because they are all rescues.
Okay.
But, the biggest cost inhibiting pet ownership is the veterinarian care. So that's with the volunteer service of animals here in Rhode Island. We help defray that cost to low-income earners with, veterinarian care, with vaccinations, with checkups. And as I say, now we're trying to expand it into telemedicine. So it really is, it's critical in my work with my 3 Ps.
Okay. All right. American Fox, as always, thank you so much for those amazing questions. And okay. So now that we got that all out of the way, in reference to public housing, when somebody, I'll give you an example. I'm actually looking for a new place because where I'm living is kind of near uninhabitable. It's falling apart.
I hear that a lot.
And in reference to, I applied to PHA. Well, matter of fact, I originally applied to the Philadelphia Housing Authority when I was married.
Oh.
And that was 25 years ago in reference to that. But I'm divorced now. And so we applied, it was 2005 or something like that. I mean, we were on a waiting list, and I made a mistake in my life. And in that mistake, I was away for a little bit. And so my ex-wife we got a letter from PHA saying, okay, it's your turn. And we were unable to do it because of what was going on. So now I'm kind of rebuilding, but at the same time, I am looking for a new place. And I know, like I said, I can't go to PHA because, and I attempted Section 8, but because of the mistake, it's out. So for those who want to apply for public housing, what should they really look for when they want to apply?
Yeah, that's actually, I would recommend that you do get back on the waiting list. Regulations are changing regarding that. And that's something that my company is working earnestly on. Because, people shouldn't be punished their whole life for, a one-time mistake. They've paid their dues to society. And, with the high cost of rent and housing being such a critical shortage. But I do think that I would say is, how about, first of all, is my microphone okay now?
You're coming in and out in some ways.
Let me change the setting. So in regard to some of those challenges, what folks are doing now is for low income housing, they're looking into alternative options like a rent program. There's a lot of new programs out there. There's also, subsidy programs. In Rhode Island, I'm very pleased that there's a $25 million subsidy program on the legislative review, which I'm in support of. So I would seek some of those options with your own home state. And, I also think having good references for, character references and, good neighbor references help when you are applying to apartments that might be, small landlords, so to speak. They like to see that there's a little more flexibility when it comes to applications and approvals because of that. So I think that would go a long way with your, search for new space. But it is, I think, upward right now. Upward trends are in the 18th percentile for homelessness right now, Joey. So it's a constant battle. With the housing shortage, and I do think public housing is part of that formula to address it. And this, current administration is trying to dampen that. So, unfortunately, it's something that you're going to have to just keep applying and reapplying, and keeping up maybe with your, local city councilor. Try to get some advocacy. I'm glad to also help you with that for advocacy on your end if needed.
Right.
Because I think that also goes a long way when you have that support behind you.
Okay. All right. So in reference to that, so you're saying to keep applying even though a mistake was made during that, during the time, because like I said, when I applied for Section 8, I was denied because of the mistake that I made, which I don't talk about on this podcast.
Of course.
In reference to that.
Sure.
So it was denied, and I just applied to a agency through an agency
Okay.
that has housing, but they also work with the homeless as well, and they have waiting lists galore. And when I was working, I also had my foot in the door in some with within New Jersey in reference to housing, affordable housing and stuff.
Mhm.
But my killer on that part was, if it wasn't the mistake, it was my credit scores,
Okay.
because my credit scores low, are low. Because when I was let go, I was unable, of course, to keep up with the bills in reference to it.
Yeah, and I think, you have to realize Section 8 housing vouchers, um, they it's not necessarily considered a public housing, uh, in terms of it's not a government owned property. So, in terms of, your mistake or anybody's mistake, uh, they're now like weighing things out in terms of when you apply for it.
Mhm.
You have that option to make an appeal.
Mhm.
Based on the time, the length of time it happened, the
Mhm.
circumstances of how it happened, so that it's not just a strong no to that public housing application, where
Mhm.
Section 8, it's more based on your income, and
Mhm.
it's based on your credit.
Mhm.
And it's a different program because you're dealing with private and public funding.
Mhm.
Private landlords are accepting the voucher on behalf of that federal program. That's why I say public housing authority. I would recommend that you apply again,
Mhm.
with that understanding that you might have an opportunity to outline the circumstances. Because look at, I'm no stranger to mistakes. I grew up in public housing, like I said, the most notorious
Mhm.
one in all of New England. I spent a third of my life there. I've
Mhm.
seen a lot of authority ferocity, a
Mhm.
lot of retaliation, and it's something that it's a stigmatization that has followed me throughout my life, throughout my career to this day. Uh,
Mhm.
People will still make offhanded, comments about it, and I don't let it. I just look past it and just try to move on. That's a chapter in my life that's now closed. So I commend you for your courage in one trying to address it, and three, and two, and three, being transparent with that. And I think if you go back to the housing authority, you may have more of a you have more options at this time, because that's something that we've been talking about, of how it's impacting the homeless situation because of past mistakes, that people should have a second chance. I'm all for rehabilitation.
Right.
And I think that it takes a lot of courage to be in your shoes. As far as your credit, I would recommend, that you work with the credit agency to help improve that. Maybe get like a prepaid credit card that you can pay to slowly improve your credit, because that's something that unfortunately is a big factor in private housing applications.
Yeah. 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 In reference to it, like I said, if it wasn't for being let go and the amount of unemployment I was getting, excuse me, whew, that's what I get for sleep apnea. Uh, um, in reference to it, I was just lucky I got by paying the rent part in reference to the unemployment I was getting. And then that little bit of time when the unemployment stopped, and I didn't know I didn't know if I was still going to have a place or not, especially because like I said, I do have sleep apnea and diabetes and stuff, and that's what's making it harder for me to get up and down steps even. So
Well, that's something actually I'm very proud of, because as a new commissioner, when I came on the board, I voted in approval for, home for having facilities just for people with disabilities. Because what happens is they put, senior housing for people with disabilities in the same complexes, different needs, right? So, was able to take a vote in favor of, separating some of those living modalities to have a better quality of life and confidence on both the ends of it, because you seem a little bit younger, and you may qualify because of some of those comorbidities that you described. You may qualify on a fast-paced approval level of just disability.
Yeah, and yeah, so it is difficult. And again, just to let you know, you were cutting in and out again, microphone wise. So, so you're a commissioner of public housing in public housing, and so you're working on getting approvals for for those that are disabled or near homeless, and fast tracking them into public housing. Where do you see the trend of this within 10 years?
Well, that's really that's a loaded question, because what I see with the trend, is we need more public housing to address the housing crunch. And, there's a lot of organizations that I work tandemly with, the low-income housing component, the unhoused situation, the elderly population, the disabled population, and the families, the students and the families. So, each type of resident has different living needs. So what I see with the trend is, with the current administration, it's like one battle after another year. The emergency housing vouchers were canceled. We all went to bat and, made testimony in, opposition of that, and were able to get that re-supported. So it's difficult to see the trends in terms of over the next 2 years, because it seems like programs get diminished. Commissioners go to bat, advocates go to bat, and then bring some of those services back. So it's like a ping pong back and forth measure-wise. So it's hard to put an index on that. But I would say, I think that some of it's imperceptible, but I would say that regionally here in England, public housing is key, and then in certain regions, the Northern Department continuously supports those efforts. So, that's probably something I'd like to dig more into to a more precise answer. But in that public housing expansion is critical.
Okay. And all right, so let's connect it with the school district in reference to it now. Where do you see your position with the school district going over the next couple of years?
Yeah. Well, actually, our local school district is just coming back into local control, back to the city and back to the school board. And I was proud to be able to give testimony in support of that measure just quite recently. It took a lot of hard work over 7 academic years of being in state receivership and improving the academics, improving the new school buildings, improving programs with the health and wellness, and with the other types of nutritional programs and food food options. We don't have the universal meal plan here yet in Rhode Island. That's something that we're working earnestly on. It is in many parts of New England. I don't know about Pennsylvania, but that's a big why. When we talk about academics, I know that I can't focus, unless I have a good meal or good nutrition. So I don't know how students can do without that nutritional value. So that's something that we need to focus on. But in terms of where I see it, I think the next few academic years is critical. We have a very committed hybrid school board. Some are elected, some are appointed, and they work very well together. And that's key. They're very committed to all of the policies and the financial components. That's the biggest struggle right now, because policies mandate finances, and that impacts programs. So I think just keeping your finger on the pulse with that is going to be key. But public education and actually public housing is focusing more on education as well. So it's becoming hand in hand in some of those endeavors. In the Public Housing Authority, we're opening an early childhood education center. So a lot of those programs are working interconnectedly, and I see it as a trend of that commitment going forward over the next few years.
Oh, okay. And you were explaining about the universal food. Can you explain more about that? What actually that is that you're trying to get into your school district?
Yeah. It actually, it was born in the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And it was such a huge success because no longer would parents have to do applications to get their income based on their meal plans. And my sister Karen is actually a former cafeteria aide, a lunch mom, if you will. Yeah. God bless her heart. So, she would see kids come in and, they couldn't afford lunch. And she would always let them go through the line. Of course, she never would deny anybody food,
right.
Especially students. But it was actually Michelle Obama who, with the Obama administration, that she really took ownership of that program to get better nutritional values in schools, because, they were given really cardboard pizza and sticky buns for breakfast. My sister would have these horror stories about some of the ingredients, at the time. But through, her work and through my work, as I say, I do work in Commonwealth of Massachusetts administratively, and that was something that I supported as well. That concept of universal meal plans was implemented, and it was such a success that other states like Connecticut, Vermont, and other areas across the region, California, implemented that same plan. And when the Harris campaign, the last election cycle, that was also on the initiative to make that nationwide. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. The Trump administration might even be considering it. I know that, the Secretary of, Education, the Commissioner of Education, they have, a lot of interest in it. It's just budgetary,
Yeah.
is the issue with that. So, it just eliminates, the lunch programs and the meal programs based on incomes from families.
Okay. All right. So that's what the universal meal plan is like, saying, that I make $15,000 a year and I had a child, which I'm going to say, I don't want to say, thank God I don't, but I don't. But so saying if I had applied, saying I had a child and for like, so it's let me clarify. So the universal lunch plan, my meal plan is like free or reduced lunch back in my day.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's no longer that application process that's a bit ornery. A lot of what's happening too is a lot of people don't like disclosing their income.
Mm-hmm.
So oftentimes they'll forego it and just say, here, Junior, here's $5 for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't usually cover that full meal plan for the day of breakfast, lunch, snacks.
Right.
Because a school day is a long session. We're looking at like 6.5 to 7 hours.
Yeah.
And then the school bus ride there and back. So, it's an elongated time frame for children to not go without meals. So it does eliminate that free and reduced lunch application that, you refer to and when you were a school child, when I was a school girl. So it eliminates that altogether.
Okay. And so, all right. So you're working on getting the universal meal plan for your district. Let's jump into athletics. You've heard stories about transgender and being, June is Pride Month as we're recording this. Yes. Where do you see the school board standing on athletes like this?
That there's a lot of pushback about just that. Mm-hmm. When I grew up in high school, like I mentioned, sports and recreation were a big component of how I was able to focus on my academics. Mm-hmm. And at that time, the sports were co-ed. And it wasn't a problem back then. And we're talking almost 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden now, because of, like you mentioned, the transgender, the LGBT, students that, are feeling more, they feel more comfortable mm-hmm. in who they are. They know who they are at a younger age, perhaps, or maybe, it could be the opposite, or they're struggling with they're questioning it, whatever mm-hmm. it may be. But they should be able to pick and choose whatever sports that they want to play in. But there's this big pushback on that. So in terms of, the school board in Providence, they're pretty flexible. They're not immutable to it. But we do have to follow, the law and the federal law and the Title IX laws. Mm-hmm. And that's what's the guiding principle with that. I, as the school board member, fully support the Safe School Act here in Rhode Island, which mm-hmm. actually protects all students to be able to come to school and feel safe. Mm-hmm. And some of the LGBTQ students would come to school and not being able to share that with their parents at home or their caregivers. So, they always wanted to be able to come to school and just be their authentic self. So, I got a lot of pushback because I supported that act. But it's been in place here in Rhode Island for almost a decade. We've never had any issues with it. But like I say, of late, with the most recent administration, that's something that has come up as immutable.
Okay. And so we being that is now what's going on in all types of education, not just school districts, but also the colleges and universities and so on.
And it's also on the housing front too, Joey. Yeah, the equal access rule, HUD is trying to remove language that protects people of their orientation, and that's another area that now I'm going and making testimony in opposition of removing that language. I think it's just a way to get around the equal access rule.
Right.
And when you think of equal access, it's for everybody.
Right. Okay. So my next question I'm going to come to is, you hear reports of school districts canceling football seasons, athletics, athletic sports due to certain things that happen, like hazing or other types of what is the biggest crisis you had to deal with in reference to a school sport in your term?
Yeah, that's sports and recreation is truly extracurricular. It's a benefit for students to be able to, have good sportsmanship, to learn how to be competitive, to learn how to have rules, how to have good teams. So yeah, that has happened whereby there's been bullying going on, and then seasons would be canceled, and unfortunately impacts the whole team, right?
Right.
And it could be just one or two bad actors,
right,
that are causing that, but it really is the team approach that is the key element with sports and recreation. So it's an unfortunate thing. One of the unfortunate events that happened when I was on the school board was that, one of the sporting events for the basketball games, somebody brought a weapon to. And it wasn't a student. It was a student, but not a student from our school district.
Right.
And, unfortunately, that game had to be canceled. And then they had to get stricter on who they're allowing into future events and future games.
Yeah.
You'd have to be pre-registered. You'd have to have a ticket. You'd have to have, which is something that I recommended because, we have to think about safety and security. And unfortunately, here in Rhode Island, we've had a 1-2 punch with just that. And here at the skating rink, just a few short months ago, we've lost community members during a student event for a hockey game because somebody came. It was a domestic violence situation. They came to an event with a weapon and killed our beloved community members.
Wow.
So we're still mourning that, Joey, and that's a big going back to why I'm so passionate about health and wellness and safety and security. They go hand in hand; they're interconnected. So, these are unfortunate things that happen with sporting events. But right now it's a necessary, situation that we have to tighten up on.
Okay. All right. So we we talked about um sports and recreation. We talked about the food. We talked about public housing and transgender
Yes.
within all that. Um and also where 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 you see both looking in the next couple of years. Where do we see Toni in the next couple of years? We talked about everything else. Where do we see Toni in the next couple of years? Do we see Toni continuing to be what she's doing right now, or do we see her venturing out even more, maybe being the next Kamala Harris type official? Do we see that?
I get that question asked a lot, Joey. First of all, I love what I do. I did run, I held office here in Rhode Island. I held office in Massachusetts. And as I say, the three P's are my passion points. They're my pain points. I feel that there's a lot of under that umbrella that I will continue to focus on.
Mhm.
I'm very much a nonpartisan, politically speaking, because these are all, these impact everybody, right?
Mhm.
Housing, education, protection of animals, the
Mhm.
environment.
Right.
These are universal.
Yeah.
So people do ask, like, are you going to run for office again? Are you going to take on higher, more responsibility? And, I will consider it. But, I'm actually very happy with my leaders here in Rhode Island. We have a wonderful governor, who works well with me on all of those initiatives that I just mentioned.
Mhm.
The mayor is very diligent in addressing, the housing shortage and expansion of public housing. We have a good city council representative who I work closely with as well. So those offices, I want to keep. I want to keep who they are.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Going on a higher level, I would maybe seek appointment, maybe as a secretary of housing. I would love to be able to, delve into that type of role. No offense against Secretary Turner. I think he's actually pretty good. I'm
Okay.
actually happy about the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. That
Mhm.
was very much a bipartisanship endeavor.
Mhm.
Uh, but there's still a lot of work to be done, as I say, with some of the initiatives that I mentioned. The one thing I'm happy about that's going to help the housing crunch is the corporations being abolished from buying single family homes. But there's a loophole in that where they can still build them to rent them. So there's always these little nuances that we're looking at to try to remonstrate and try to improve upon. But yeah, that's where I see myself. I see myself continuing, with this work, this so close to my heart, and being on great shows like yourself,
Mhm.
and getting my message out there that we can all work together in this great nation. 250 years of building up, and we need to continue doing so.
Yeah.
We want another 250 years together.
Well, just to actually let you know, if I could reach through this wall right here in this studio and go maybe stretch out like 2 blocks, I'm at Independence Hall. That's how close this studio is to our home place that was forementioned before. Um, because I am in Old City, Philadelphia right now.
I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
I actually have been there with my sister Marilyn.
Yeah.
By the way, Marilyn Hinch is my sister, so
Oh,
she chose those positions. And she's also a stalwart public servant.
Okay.
She doesn't like when I talk about her background, but she has an incredible public service background. She's now a retiree.
We got 2 minutes. Let her have it.
Marilyn, she's somebody that I've aspired to all my life. She is the former secretary to Tip O'Neill. She started her public service in that area, Congressman Tip O'Neill.
Yeah.
Who they named buildings after.
Yes, I remember him growing up. Yeah, I actually remember he was on when he made an appearance on Cheers.
Right. Yeah. She was his private assistant, and then she went on to be in the Department of Revenue as an executive assistant.
Okay.
So, like I say, she's now fully retired, enjoying her retirement with her husband, Bob Hinch, who, is the brother of Dick Hinch, who is the late former secretary of New Hampshire.
Oh.
So, a lot of political affiliation.
Okay.
We're all nonpartisan. We all get along. We have differences, but we all get along.
Okay.
And that's where I learned it from them was how to debate effectively and get things done, no matter what political affiliation, because that's what makes our country so great.
Okay. So that means now, if there's an argument in the household, there's podiums set up on each side, and Toni on one side, and someone else on the other side, and the great debate begins.
Well, I'll tell you, Marilyn would be good at that because she, like I said, she has it all under her belt, and that's where a big mentor and where I learned it from. In terms of.
Wait a minute. We have a correction for you.
Correct.
Dick was Speaker of the House.
Dick Hinch. Yes, the late Dick Hinch.
Okay. She was clarifying that, just to let you know. So how can people reach out to you very quickly?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is a great way to reach me. I'm also on Facebook under Toni D. Akin. I'm on LinkedIn under Toni D. Akin. X, Twitter. I believe that you're on X Twitter because I'm following you now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's under Toni Akin.
Okay.
And then my YouTube channel, which is new.
Yep.
And that's at Toni Akin PVD, which stands for Providence.
Okay. Wait a minute. All right. At Toni Akin PDD.
PVD.
Oh, PPD. P as in Papa.
P V as in Victor. D as in dynamite.
Okay. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's put that up there. All right. So, Toni, thank you so much. You're welcome to come back on the podcast. If you want to drag your sister in on it, let me know. We'll make it a debate for an hour.
She would be delighted. So I will get back to you on that.
All right. No problem.
And thank you so much for inviting me. This has been so pleasurable. Yes. And again, I'm just deeply humbled to be on your show. I'm a big fan.
And thank you so much again. And thank you, Marilyn, for your assistance in your questioning your own sister, what the heck she does. And always thank you to American Fox for her questions as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching The Life with Joey.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you, American Fox.